Hey guys, welcome back to Kendi Beauty. So today I'm really excited to show you guys all about this new Urban Decay Naked Ultraviolet palette. I have seen a lot of mixed reviews online, so I myself am super excited to dive in. And I will be honest, I personally have never been a big fan of the Naked line. I do love Urban Decay though. I've always been a die-hard Urban Decay fan all the way, every day, all the way. And I think that's just because, not so much of recently, but just my loyalty to the brand when they first were going. Like back in the day, it was nothing like how it is now in the beauty community. I'll just say that. The only fun, colorful brands that actually like created really fun makeup were MAC, and then came along Urban Decay. And so Urban Decay was like one of the first companies besides MAC that we already had that was really like doing new innovative palettes and things. They came out with the electric palette. There were a bunch of other palettes they came out with as well. And then they started the Naked line, and like I said, I've never been really impressed with the Naked line. It just hasn't been my cup of tea. But when I saw that they were doing a Naked Ultraviolet palette, I kind of thought two things. One, okay, another purple palette. But two, then when I looked at the palette, I'm like, oh, wait a second, this is not purple. This looks really interesting. So I figured I've got to check it out. It excited me. I got it. And now I get to share it with you guys. If you are new here, thank you so much for joining us today and watching. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and tap the bell so you can be notified of all of the new upcoming videos and releases. Alright, we'll get started. Alright, and here she is in all of her glory. And that was like one of the main things I was really impressed with and drew me to this palette as well, was just like this gorgeous packaging. I love it. I think it's definitely a step up from the normal Naked palette packages, and I just love the plastic casing. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it on camera, but it's really pretty. So I was super drawn to that. And then inside you've just got all these beautiful shades. So I'm really excited to dive into this palette with you guys. Alright, and now on to the info. Alright, it says the hyperpigmented velvety naked eyeshadow family has a new lineup of peachy neutrals, pale lavenders, deep violets, and black light purples. Naked Ultraviolet's iridescent micro shimmers and light reflecting shades grab attention, while Transformer shadows add a futuristic holographic finish. Use these ultra blendable shadows solo or layer to create versatile eye looks with a pop of purple. Includes a vegan and cruelty-free double-ended brush. And the palette retails for $49. It was out on Urban Decay first, or no, it came out actually on Cult Beauty's site first. That's how I got it. And then it came out on Urban Decay, Sephora, and Ulta. It is available on all three sites. I don't believe it is sold out as far as I know. So now on to our swatches. First up, we have Trippin', Mind Slip, Dazed, Hacked, VR, Lucid, Optimized, Warning, Cyberpunk, Euphoric, Purple Dust, and Digital. And these look really pretty, you guys. I cannot wait to create our look. Alright, so I took my makeup off and I reprimed my eye with the Plouise Base 0.5. Normally I combine 0 and 2, but I found my 0.5 today, so that's exciting. Less work for me. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go in with this really deep purple shade called Purple Dust. And I'm just going to go on the outer corner of the eye, a little bit diagonal, and I'm just sort of patting that in. Alright, and now I'm going to go in with this more sort of royal purple shade called Cyberpunk, and I'm just going to go right on top of Purple Dust. And I'm bringing that up a little bit and sort of blending it into Purple Dust. Okay, and now I'm going to go in with Euphoric right there into the middle of my lid. And it said it was hyper pigmented in the description, but I have to say that these shades are definitely not hyper pigmented by any means, but I'm liking that there isn't a ton of fallout. That's refreshing, because usually there is a little bit of fallout, but not a ton like there usually is, at least in the palettes that I've been reviewing lately. There's been a ton of fallout, so that's like a nice change. Alright, and now I'm going to go in with this really pretty sort of holographic iridescent shade called Lucent. I've been really excited to try this out ever since I swatched it, and I'm just going in into the inner corner of the eyelid with that and sort of meeting it with the Euphoric. And I like that in these palettes they're interesting shades. Some of the shades are like Euphoric, Cyberpunk, those shades I've seen in other palettes, but besides that, all of like the other shades like Lucid and VR, those are totally unique shades, and I'm really liking that about this palette, because it's really refreshing to see new innovative pans, new innovative shades that you just can't get in any other palettes. There's not a lot of that anymore these days, it seems like, and I really wish brands would start doing that more. You know, and we can wait, even if it takes longer to come out with something. I would rather a brand take longer to release a product and release a really exciting, new, innovative, original, you know, palette or product than just do the same old thing and just have one come out after the other, after the other. The only complaint I'm having really so far is that, like, I feel like I need to go back over, like, the shades are just kind of disappearing a little bit, I'm noticing. So I'm just going back over with Euphoric right now. And again with Cyberpunk. And then again with Purple Dust. Before I start the bottom portion of that, I am just going to go over top of everything with Hacked. Just really quickly. Just to give it like a little bit of transition. I don't know if it really needs it, but I just figured I'll warm things up a little bit. Alright, now moving on to the under eye area. I'm just gonna, what am I gonna do? Yeah, I'm just gonna basically mirror the same thing. So I'm gonna start out with that Lucid color again, and I'm dabbing that into the inner corner. I'm just kind of patting Lucid again and again, because these shades are kind of on the struggle bus to pigmentation. Like, they're trying real hard, but it's just not happening, and they're sort of just diminishing after I apply them. Alright, so now I'm going to go back in with Euphoric. It seems like there has been like a ton of purple palettes this year. Purple's like the thing. The beginning of the year, it started out with the Matrix palettes. Those are beautiful palettes, and they weren't purple themed, but there was a lot of different sort of purple shades in there. And then what followed after that? Oh, Jeffree Star, the Bloodlust collection, which again, not like crazy purple. Juvia's Place, I don't know when, but they came out with a gorgeous, truly purple palette. Actually, that one I'd have to say is like the most purple. And then of course, more recently, right after Ultraviolet came out, Melt Cosmetics and I'm just sort of putting euphoric on the under eye area in the middle. Mel Cosmetics came out with their She's in Parties palette, which is like their rendition of the Plum Stack. If you guys are interested in those videos, I will link them down below. I did do reviews on all of those except for Bloodlust. Okay, and now I'm going back in with Cyberpunk, which I would have to say this is the most purplish shade in the palette, in my opinion. The rest are just kind of like off versions of purple. And some of them aren't purple at all. And alright, you guys, I'm just sort of getting a little bit of fallout that there was underneath. And now I'm going to do the other side. I'll apply some foundation, lashes, concealer, full face of makeup, and we'll be back for our final thoughts on this palette. Alright, you guys, so this is our final look, and my thoughts on this palette are, overall, I thought the palette actually performed decently. Were some of the shadows naked or not even there? Yes. I had to reapply the shades several times for them to show up. Sometimes I had to use a wet brush, but they did blend beautifully. They were not hyperpigmented, I'll have to say that. They were definitely not hyperpigmented. They didn't have a ton of fallout, and overall they blended really well together. The majority of the shades in this palette were shades that I do not have in other palettes or cannot get in other palettes. So that was impressive to me. And I think overall that's what kind of sold me on the palette to begin with. It did way better in person than it looked online, I'll have to say that. Now, being that it was $49, do I think it was worth the $49? I think that $49 is a pretty midway level price for palettes nowadays. So I do think that it was priced accordingly. If you guys have this at home, I want to hear what your thoughts are. You know, if you played around with it, I want to know yay or nay, hit or miss, what you guys think about this palette below. But at the end of the day, this look came out really nice and I'm really impressed. And I do think this is a palette that I could get away with wearing to the grocery store or out to dinner. Something that's not bam, in your face. It's more subdued and muted, and that is what the Naked palettes are really intended for and all about. A lot of people bash the Naked line, and like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of them, but I have to say that is their intention, that is their purpose. And with so many hyperpigmented or highly pigmented palettes out on the market now, I think it was kind of smart for them to release this in the Naked line because they could pull it off, because the colors were a little muted and a little less showy and bright. So overall, I was happy with this palette. I'm glad I purchased it. I won't be returning it. And now on to our quote for the day. And today's quote is actually one of my favorite quotes, and I think that it's fitting for today's video and today's palette. It says, "Makeup should never be used to hide yourself. It should be used to enhance your natural beauty." That being said, I think that this palette is definitely one that enhances natural beauty. It's not meant to hide anything or cover anything up completely. It's just there to enhance the beauty that we already have with it. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you're here today, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye!